Thanks, Mike, Margie, Dan, for joining us here today for this open discussion about Hopkins sport and specifically the sports that you guys have been involved with in the past or current. What we're doing this because we're including some of this information with Hopkins Historical open house we're having later in December, and we want to capture this for those purposes, as well as to hear some of the stories, interesting stories that I'm sure you all have from your time coaching here. So I've got a number of questions. We can kind of bounce it around. Don't feel too obligated. We can be flexible. So Mike, I'm going to start with you. Actually, Mike Donahue, what sports do you coach, and how long were you and have you coached?
And so I've coached track and field back here for high school since 2004, 2005. Before that, I was a couple years, 3 years, I believe, with the middle school spring track. When we first started in the middle school, probably was the school. High school moved over to this building in 2001. Before that, it was a minor prep, so we used to have 8th graders compete. But after that, we had to create a program. So I took that over for a few years. And then I jumped in once Eric Lammy decided to move on. He's a great coach for some of our championship years. So once Eric was a field head coach, when he moved on, Mike Scanlon was the head coach at the time and really started the program. He was waiting to kind of get me involved in the high school program. I'd slowly get a little bit bites of the apple, working with the older kids as I was working with some younger kids. And so that was kind of a smooth transition. So that's when we started. And I was mainly at first throws coach for the indoor and outdoor team, worked with both the girls and the boys. Technically, I was considered the boys' assistant, but we all worked with everybody, treated it like a big program. Eventually, Friday, who was the head coach, decided he wanted to step down so he could spend more time with his own kids who were at high school doing their sports. So he became assistant. I took over the program. I was around 2000. So I was head coach, the head coach for indoors, outdoors. I gave up head coach role because I had the same thing. I wanted to go. My kids are getting to high school. Chris took the role back for a while, and then eventually we handed off to Ryan Prescott and Gardner Mathis. So now Ryan's the head coach for the spring for the boys, and I'm the head coach for the boys indoors. Gene Can took over from Brian Hall, who would take over Mike Scanlon from Cook's District, and as the district coach. So it's been 20. So I've been here for this year. Let's be my 20th. At this my 21st year doing. I had around. I know that Dan was still in high school when I was coaching. I used to coach with his brother too. So tell me about you got in trouble with too much. And it's been a while.
Great, thanks, Mike. Margie, how about you?
First, thanks for having us. This is kind of a cool thing to do. I don't have this much to say because only one sport, and I started in 2002. JV for a couple of years, and then volleyball varsity from then until 2020 when I'm retired right now. So it was a great joy for me to be able to check out practice a little bit earlier today and see one of my former players, Emma Sweet Apple, and another former player, Michaela Pucci, and another former player, Jess Kerner, were all there. Those are the current coaches. So it was, it's really cool to be there.
So you coached for almost 20 years. Well,
I coached for 20 seasons.
Wow. Yeah, great, excellent. All right, and
I coached the boys lacrosse team, and I came over in 2015. Been teaching here since 2010, but 2015 was the first season I coached the varsity team here. Only been a couple of coaches in the young history of the sport. Ken Gates started the youth program in 1998. First varsity program was 2001, and then Justin Leary came in after Kenton 2008, I believe, and then I came in after Justin. So it was.
And so you said Ken, Justin, and then yourself. Margie, who was the volleyball coach before you?
Beth Ryder was here,
Okay.
worked in the school system, and she was varsity for 2 years, the first 2 years that I started on JV.
And who was the first coach? Do you remember? Did you know? Was it Beth or not? And, I don't know either. So this isn't a trick.
It is, actually. I was thinking about it on the way, and I'm like, I know. I can't remember its last name. It was
Okay. All right. Well, leave that. Okay. Good.
I just left that. Yes.
and she's still coaching.
Yeah. Okay. So this time, Margie, we'll start with you. So tell us a little bit about your background in terms of high school, college sports you played, and then what was your biggest influence that you into sports, into coaching, and then made you decide to coach? So kind of 3 parts there.
I played pretty much I was 3-season athlete in high school. So I started volleyball in 9th grade, which is the first that it was offered.
What high school were you?
That was East Catholic High School in Manchester, Connecticut.
Okay.
I switched over to the public school sophomore year and played there for 3 years. I also played basketball and not very well, and played softball, which is probably my strongest sport. And then I cheered during my 2 years. So I kind of got a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And when I went to college, I went to UPenn and played volleyball my freshman year and liked it, but it was not the college experience that I was looking for. As you know, you have to have a real commitment. And I did for a season, but then realized that I was missing out on other things. So I switched my attention at that point. But okay, that was my background. About coaching.
What was your biggest influence to get you into sports and coaching?
It's my parents.
Yeah.
My dad was a big athlete, and my mom was as well. And they just started, both my brother and I, very early.
Yeah.
And whatever softball was the first thing I could start playing. He played hockey, and we just were always at fields or in gyms or.
Well, there was the days where you kind of go out in the morning and back late at night.
Yeah, so it was a little different because we were, running out and playing kickball or whatever, riding our bikes around. And then, sports were not as organized, scheduled as they are now. But as a result, the kids playing the sports are all a lot better than we were when we were playing. So we were skilled early on. I would say, my parents definitely got me interested in sports. I had some excellent coaches in high school that made me love volleyball. It wasn't, like I said, it was my favorite sport. It probably was. I don't know. It might start as a sport, but it was definitely my favorite out of that, though. And I learned a lot from my the type of coach that I wanted to be, and the type of coach that I didn't want to be from coaches that I've had over the years in all sports.
Nice.
So
Great. Excellent. Dan?
And you? Yeah. So I grew up in Ashland, and I played football.
As we know. Well known. His dad and I played football against each other in high school. So,
and now you play golf against each other. So
with each other.
Yeah, with each other. So I played. I was a 3-sport athlete as well. I played football. I ran track in the winter, and then played lacrosse. And my senior year, I played basketball. Again, I was just at amateur 5 fouls, but it was fun.
Everybody has a role, right?
Yeah. But no, I mean, and they're just introducing them. But my father was the big system on softball. He, just like you did with your boys, coached us, back in the Pop Porter days when Hopkins and Ash were together for that. Was his old guy. My brother and I wanted to play lacrosse. He learned the game.
When did they start lacrosse in Ashland?
96. Yeah, okay. 96. First varsity team, I think, was 99 or 2000.
Okay. Similar time.
Exactly, yeah. And this area is kind of all around, the original ones were Hopkins and Ashland, Medfield over. It actually wasn't the Tri-Valley League. It was called the Metro Central Conference. And included like Blackstone Valley Tech. This is what my brother was playing. But and then where TDL schools came to now, and we don't have as Millis. But definitely through my father. And my older brother, kind of just followed his footsteps of what sports to play.
Yeah.
And then, played lacrosse at Springfield College as well. And then, just still playing men's leagues.
Oh, you're still playing men's?
Yeah, still play. Yeah, just over 30. Nothing special. But,
And he's still playing. That's all right.
Like,
Yeah,
You playing? Still playing overseas baseball?
Yeah.
Keep playing as long as
Yeah.
you can be. Exact. So great, Mike.
so I did, I went to Senior High and BC High, or the other way. I was 4 years at BC High and 2 years at Senior High, and did mainly track because I thought I was a track coach, and when I played a lot of like track, and I'm growing up as a soccer player, swimmer, but and I knew my the writings on the wall. I was not going to make the varsity team at Senior High soccer, and they didn't have coaches. So I did track, mainly a thrower. Probably should have been a runner, but my dad was a throwing coach, so at Northeastern, so I feel like it was got. I had some understanding of it, some expertise, not strength, not ability. Was reasonably competitive in high school. Went to Northeastern, where he was coaching. I had no interest in doing track. My older brother was on the track team, but I was like, I knew the writing was on the wall. I was competitive in high school. That's D1, and if my brother came and summons me to the team, that much you there. I said, was he before? And he said, wait, I think he wants to keep an eye on me. And so my first year, I just trained, gained a lot of weight, saw strength, and just kind of, as a big shirt athlete, just got kind of learned the ropes a bit. My sophomore year, started competing, and I found that I could be reasonably competitive. No superstar. We had superstars after the Olympics, but I learned a lot. And then about after my third year, these 5 years, I had been doing work as you do co-op program. I decided I was going to take a year off his work. Probably wouldn't if my athletic career was going in a different direction, but I kind of knew I had gotten a lot out of it, and that was probably fine. So I took a year off work, and I came back to school to finish up my degree. At that time, I kind of functioned as like a kind of assistant with my dad. It was one of the best times for me, just with him, because he was no longer my coach, which was my coach. It was a great team. He was a great team. And we got to work together, and I learned a lot of his approaches and why he did what he did. And he told me the other side, he used to yell at me with the first. But I didn't take on that. I understood it at least. But it was a good experience. Then I went out and I was working, and I was teaching. I went to grad school. Was my student teaching through grad school. I met a teacher at Southport Middle School where I was doing my internship, and he had been on the Northeast track team while my father was coaching. So he found us, and that was great. And then his son was starting up as the head coach at Natick at the time. A track program, so he said he needs a coach. He had him out, so I started coaching at Natick. A year later, I started here, and then I met Mike Scam. Mike Scam was the head of the program. He was also a Northeastern track guy. So he said, "Oh, okay, so you've got the background from Northeastern. You've got some knowledge. We want to get you involved in the program." And like I said before, that's when I got kind of signed in to the program here. So, and again, nothing that was planned, but it seemed natural. I grew up around coaches who grew up around going to track meets and theater. The one thing about track is because unlike a lot of sports, we use a one-on-one competition, and the coach, you see the other coach. At track meets, you might see 200 coaches from all over the place. So I was around a lot of coaches growing up. So all my dad's, all his buddies were coaches pretty much. So being part of that growing up, they helped me understand how, the value you coach might want to be on. So I don't think I'm going to be ever used to some of those coaches I met along the way, but I can hear them sometimes as I'm coaching, what things that they used to say, things they used to recommend.
The track team has done well, so you must have picked up something.
He's coached a bunch of my players and one of my daughter.
Yeah.
So I can vouch for.
So speaking of daughters and kids, so you don't coach any of your children, but
I coached my kids in youth sports. In every sport I could.
Yeah.
But then they went to a different high school.
But you had your dad in college.
But not in high school. Before that, you didn't see them. Because you had the time.
But you had your daughters, both daughters, in. So how did that?
In youth sports too. I volunteered in soccer back in the day and volleyball, but yeah, it was pretty much different.
High school's a little different. So how did that?
It's a little tricky trying, my best to make sure that I would think it was harder on them than I was harder on them than the kids, but at the same time, I would have never, take that back. It was a great time to be there. Plus, when your kids are on the team, I know their friends, and I had know those leaders like them, but a lot of the people on the players on the teams those years.
Yeah, know that. Okay, no, that's very, very interesting. I'm sure challenging, but interesting. So that's great. Okay, yeah. tell us some of your most memorable coaching moments from teams, players, events, whatever.
We're that always someone asked this question maybe last year, and one of my most memorable things was actually my first year. A great athlete. There's a lacrosse player, so he was a really good football player, played football at Eugene. Good basketball player too, is Pat Ryan, and we're playing at North Attleboro down at their place. It's a tie game. I'm gonna guess since it was give me 47 o'clock. This is back when we could call to defensive ends. Ball squirts out of bounds. Our ball, so we call timeout. We're tied, and we just start him with the ball. We're like, hey, I know you're quarterback, back, so school. I got like this is one where can just you're gonna get make this happen. Don't lose the ball because we want to at least go to OT, and so he splits. Whoever's trying to double team him runs right by not helping him out at all. Runs right by the bench, looks at me, he goes, Coach, how much time is left? And we're all like, just 4 seconds, going nuts. And he's cool as a cucumber and just put it in the back of the net and just calmly walked on. We do high five, those teammates. And that one will always stick with me.
Yeah.
Another similar one is, Will Abbott was such a great athlete here. 2018, I believe it was, or 17, down at Phil 13 when we used to play there. Similar situation, retired at Concord Carlisle, who at the time, is a very good program, one of the storied programs in the state. And go to play and, had a timeout. I used to be play, didn't go as planned. Obviously, also said, he ends up with the ball on the stick and, just put it away. Yeah. And then, and a lot of the on-field stuff too. Seeing Riley Del Monte catch for fish at Believers Training Center, one of our team outings was yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Like,
there's a lot of moments. It's funny. I think back, things stick. We should have done this. We should have done that. But there's been a lot. I can remember actually a meet. We used to have indoor track meets at our facility here. Which we only have JV meets now. We started going to the Reggie Lewis Center in Wheaton probably about 10 years ago. And so the league championship, we were undefeated. The girls team was undefeated. Had been undefeated for a number of years. Like Stickey was the head coach. It was finally because that feels very good. We knew it was going to come down to the last race. Comes down to the relay. It's a great race. Our girls in the lead. Last leg. And so they had to do 3 laps for 400 meters. She ran 2, thought she had run through it in the excitement. And it was so loud that she stopped running. And the other girl kept on running. So then she realized it and she started running. She didn't capture her. So that was the first meet we had lost. And it was great about it was that the way Mike reacted to it wasn't, because I happened to be standing with him at the time, and he wasn't upset at all. He was more worried about, I got to get over her. I got to make sure she's all right. And the other girls just rallied around her. And it was actually a better moment than the new one because it had to bond. They had to show you who they were, right? Because at that point, how bad she felt? She felt she had lost everything. It was just the opposite. They couldn't wait to be with each other. So that was a great event. I have to tell you, the most exciting event I went to was not a track event. It was the state championships from the volleyball one. It was so amazingly loud. The back room, the kids came up was up in the North Shore at Bedford or Blissna. That back room was
there.
Yeah. And it's probably never would have done. I said that's the most exciting high school that I've ever been to. It was great. But we've had a lot of league championships, got a lot of great races. I can remember certain athletes doing some amazing things. Caitlin Halloran in a relay, getting the baton so far behind the other teams that the city that you said, hopefully we'll get third. And she ends up winning by 10 meters. And Jessica Scott, same thing as Jessica Scott on a missed hand-off relay. The baton gets crossed. It's a 4x100. You can't, she picks it up, drops the hammer, ends up winning the race. So those are the things I remember. 40 Thalheimer back in 2008 had some of the most impressive performances in the throwing events. KK Powers were recently that's 5.22. So just this while like individual things going away. But yeah, some of the memorable things are when we made mistakes and we had to clean them. It ended up better in the end.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's great. Hear that how Mike responded to that, knowing the success that he's had. That's very telling. So, Margie.
I was thinking one of my memorable watching your tracks because I used to watch Kate also. She was one of my Kate Powers was one of my volleyball players as well, and her having a hurt shoulder throwing lefties is still winning for me.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it's memorable for me.
Talented. Yeah. Wow.
You're right, though. A lot of the things are the off the field and off the court things that are just super fun to remember. We had a couple of my teams went to Disney preseason and played there.
Oh,
Played, like a series of competitions.
Yeah.
Those were always fun. Like the first time that someone had got to Disneyland on the team was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And also obviously championships are good to remember. We had quite a fewer than track, but we're
You mentioned league championships, Mike. The two of you, how many state championships? I mean, there's been multiple state championships.
track. I'm not sure you can count.
Yeah, I don't. Well, a lot of teams before I was involved in some of those teams in the early 2000s, just before I was involved in staff. And that's when we were a small school. We had about 400, 500 kids, and we were all state championships. When I say we, the girls' team was all state champions, I believe, 7 or 8 times. That was so all state championships. You're beating every school that fields a team. Right? That qualified for me. So up to 300 schools. And that doesn't exist anymore. You keep that.
Not to take away from your time, but a question relative to this is, I understand that there was a Mike Scanlon rule put in because Hopkins, the girls were winning all state championships.
We believe it to be the case, and we were told it was the case. We don't think there's no hard evidence, but so in 2005, we won. I think it was the last one we won, and then after that year, it was 6 places soaring, and they petitioned to make it 8 places, and the reason being then the thought was that smaller schools wouldn't have enough. They couldn't get enough points. Which is more points available, the bigger schools are going to get those points.
Yeah.
And they made it right because we didn't win it after that.
Yeah.
So it worked. And maybe but now there is no all state championship. They've got rid of that.
Is-
So it stops at the team aspect stops at the division. So which I think is a better way.
So you had multiple state championship teams. I know your last time.
Last team was kind of crazy. I don't think they lost a thing. I mean, they didn't lose a game. They did lose a tournament that we played in outside. I don't know. I'm not sure they ever would lose a coin toss. There was just one of those teams. Like it was kind of a state that they were.
Did they play a lot youth coming up, or were they just great athletes? All the above?
I think most of all, because the last game that you were talking about that we played in a championship versus Westboro, that team was amazing. Their Westboro team was great. And we were I think we had various strong players, but they were they were playing for each other. They were playing for me too. It was a good season. They just had a lot going for them. It was just a really happy vibe. And I think that kind of worked in our favor. They were never nervous. They were entertaining it. So
Great.
I like that out of like going to the Grand March and watching the girls dressed up for prom or going to the Spaggers, before big games or things like that are kind of what stick in my mind more than individual games. Yeah, I think of the one that was lost or whatever. You can't get a tap, right? But for the most part, my favorite times are times that, working at Poly Arts and holding youth clinics and
Excellent. So, Mike, we're back to you. What do you like most about coaching, and coaching in Hopkins in particular?
So it's funny. I was just thinking about this. We were saying that, like the things that you like. I like practice. Like if I just test, I do like meets because it's good to see what you can do. But I love practice. And that's where you get to interact. And track, the interesting thing is too, because there's like a little more downside because you're not doing team formations and things like that. So if we're working on certain skills, there might be kids in a line waiting to do that skill as other kids are going through. So I have a chance to interact with them while they're kind of in between. In that, getting to know those kids, and quite frankly, the kids from Hopkins, we're so lucky. I say this is back with almost every year, is we are blessed because they send these great kids to us. I went to Mark because Dawn's great. And I got a chance to coach her, and she was just phenomenal. So much fun. Go. And then we don't have problems that other schools deal with. So the kids come in there, they've got a good, for the most part, everybody's got a pretty good home or a very good home. They're ready to compete. They're ready to participate. They're good students. They care. It's not like they're still kids, right? They're not going to be perfect. But we don't have to deal with the behavioral things a lot of places have to deal with. We also don't have to deal with as much of the transit nature. Some schools are dealing with kids who might be out of school for a week or two because of the nature of their own life, something they can control. And but they still have to coach those kids up and somehow fit them into the team defense, right? That's really hard. We don't deal with that as much. And I think those things, we don't appreciate them and take a step back and really think about that, then we're missing the boat. But our kids, if you didn't have the kids, if I didn't have the kids that I was dealing, there would be no way I would want to do it. If I was dealing with behavioral things week after week, I could do other things, right? But we don't deal with that. So in turn, because we're not dealing with, you actually get to build really good relationships. And these kids, by the time they're done, like you are really sad to them go. Everyone's wrong. Most of the question. But really, I'm very serious. Like everyone, like, you think, how are we going to this next year? These are the greatest kids ever that we've had them for 4 years. And in some cases, you might have been with a kid. I might have been with a kid for 8 seasons. Yeah. So you get pretty close. You are invested in everything they do, and they're invested in Mark. So it's. I think it is. I think Hopkins is a special place to do a real influence.
Seriously, between boosters, the administration, the parent, like how much support can program get? I've talked to people who don't have that kind of support, coaches that don't get that, and I'm like, I don't know what to do because I relied on people. All the time. They just had so much help. And kids are great. And that's the best part. And practice is the best part.
What did you enjoy the most? Was it practices more so the game?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, games, practice was fun because you could, first of all, I had everything planned out exactly what I wanted to do. So what's not to like? We could play the music or we could, have fun things in with the work or try to make the work fun.
This is
get to know the.
So that's a great point, though, because you were very successful. To be that successful, you need to still have fun. That's a challenge.
Fun was the first part because if they're not having fun, then they're not even going to want to be part of the program. So when we weren't as successful early years, we were still having fun. Like that was one of the first teams going to Disney. Like we're gonna make this a program that everyone wants to be a part of. Yeah. And then basically send the girls to the 8th grade to talk to the middle girls. Like, you want to see, say you should try volleyball. They want to see this homecoming queen over here who just,
Right. Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah. Great. Or and to hear that they don't have to run. That's my big.
Well, that's what throwing is about, right?
Hey, listen,
you just have to shut up. Okay.
Dan, how about you?
I think. I love coaching the games too. Obviously, but I think year by year, like last year, the group that we had, it was truly like it was so cool to like they're the old saying like instead of saying like let's go guys, like bring it back. Our practices last year were a ton of fun because the kids were going at each other. In a good way. So it was, it was, they were friends, and then practice started. It's like, hey, I'm covering you. Like, let's be down. So I think that, when we have guys like that, that makes it a lot of fun for me. And then, I know Marsha said it, but like, the community here is just so amazing. We need anything as coaches. It's, our administration backs us. The parents are all awesome. To Mike's point, and I think I'm lucky that we have a really good youth program at town too. That a lot of these people that are doing the time and stuff like that, help kind of grow our numbers.
Yeah.
But I hearing horror stories from buddies that coach in different areas, so to that point of starter was out for 2 weeks, and it's not because he was in trouble. It's just because he had no ride or had to
right
help out or something like that. We're very lucky.
Did I forget to say HCAM? They put our program on the map. Yeah. Like New Year days and just broadcasting all of our games. Like that was huge.
Yeah.
And that was we were one of the first programs I think that started that back in I don't know, might remember one, 2008. Wow.
They used to do some of the football games. I remember, but
True. Yeah, I take that. Football is always
they do basketball too. I know.
okay.
I don't know exactly what, but to your point, yes, they definitely. You made a comment there about youth sports, and so I'm curious. I think you guys started a youth volleyball program.
We had we always did youth clinics in the spring and in the fall. So even girls that are down there now playing, and I've been out for 3 years, I still know because I coached them when they were in 4th or 5th grade or 6th or
So they
something.
had clinics. Do they have
No, we don't have a.
no organized?
There is, but it's your playing club.
Okay.
So it's area regional.
And how about? I mean, I know they're doing lacrosse, and lacrosse has been around. Youth lacrosse has been around the town for quite a while. What do they have? A track.
For youth is a summer track program that you can run. And it's Denver's middle school. So for a lot of kids, the first chance they have, or the first opportunity, like they're already doing soccer and a lot of other things, and they don't really think of track until they get to the point where they get to high school, and it's like maybe because it's what they were doing. If you're doing youth baseball or youth softball, there's a lot of teams. Now there's just one, right? Same with soccer. But the try-back and girls soccer is so massive.
Yeah.
Everybody can't make it. And some great athletes who do not make it. So that's like, okay, we're going to try something new, and maybe it's field hockey, maybe it's track or something like that. So we do have a good number of students in middle school. Participation numbers in track are huge.
And what is it? Is that how many meets do you have in that, or is that?
Middle schools, I think they have maybe 5 or 6 meets. There's also now a state championship. They do. They go over the state championship with.
Yeah. How?
Didn't know that.
And so is there any recruiting done by the coaches to make it known? Hey, this is a sport that you might want to play.
We get to know some of the kids. So what we usually do is we have so that the middle school coaches also recruit some high school athletes during this to like these kind of junior coaches. So their process happens just before ours down on the track. So while our kids are kind of either doing their extra help or doing their homework, and they come down to start, we will have middle schools having their practice. So some of our athletes have got, and that's I think where the big connection for our program comes from. Because yes, I think glad to meet some of the athletes and some of the other coaches that just handing out. But it's the athletes meeting the athletes. They look up to them as sure, how we're dealing with you. So like that's probably the best way. But yes, we do. Nice thing about track is you can find a performance specialist, self-program is this in my muscles. And so
Yeah, this is where the war is. Yeah, there's subjectiveness to it. This is what that.
but there are also lots of kids they'll do track because there may not be another sport that really exists in high school. So there's schools that have to not middle school, so they might do it there to kind of supplement, and then they're going to get to high school. Okay, now they want to do there. So it's great too. Just do something. Stay involved with something.
This channel. Good. I think what else? Any other things that stand out?
Different from you, Mike. I 2 years ago was the first graduating. I did kindergarten, first grade, visit that in town. So that was, I should have said that was a really cool memory because it's, it was great to see these guys that are bigger than me. It's like, I used to, how you now it's coming full circle. And they come to and remind them what they were like when they were 5. So gives it a different perspective now, seeing these kids help grown up, so, and that's another beautiful part of it too. It's refreshing to come to the high school, do practices because it's like 2 completely different jobs. It doesn't feel like, same thing all day.
And as far as
It's just,
the youth sports, that the youth lacrosse starts at probably
so there's
8, 9 years old, or
there's like U9. Yeah, it's similar to how soccer's aligned. It's like U9, U11, U13, U15.
and there's quite a few teams. That must be
It goes in like bubbles, it's usually like three teams for each level. And our guys do an awesome job. We
So your team, your players actually go and
Yeah, we signed like each kid to a particular team as
Oh,
like a
and-
mentor for that team.
So that's-
And, they don't like they're not the head coach. It's,
Yeah.
but they go down and touch base, whether it's at practice, helping with drills.
But gives the kids, again, as you guys have all said, looking up to the athletes at the school as opposed to necessarily.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think it does a lot for the high school kids too, because they realize somebody's looking up to them. And they a lot of them requested to be on. This kid's in my neighborhood, can I be on that team? So it's pretty cool.
I
Please.
lived in Hopkinton, so it was for me. Coaching here was just a gift. Like I love volleyball. It's fun, but I don't think I would with coaching. An opening came up somewhere else, or so I think.
Was it more
town?
because you're in town, because your kids are in town as well, or that you'd be able to push them, or just because?
Yeah, I started before where like
Yeah,
kids were little, and there was just no. I'm all in on the go Hillary,
Yeah.
Clean Green, whatever. Like I was not about to. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. So I think being in town and having like people support,
Yeah.
being part of the community was really important to me. And like working and coaching also, it's nice
That's
really to be part of the community.
great. Did you coach anywhere else? You say
I had a number of college positions that were offered to me when I was younger, which I didn't take because it didn't match my lifestyle. But I always thought, I'm definitely going to coach college. Which my dad did, maybe college, right? But after coaching high school for a little while, my dad has passed out, but he was still coaching. He's coached for 40 years. So we was talking about coaching, and when are you going to do? I heard your job's open. I had enough. Stay in high school. This is something that's so beautiful about the beginning, taking from the development beginning to wherever you can get to. And I've talked to some other coaches. Coach Eric Lammy, I mentioned earlier, he's probably one of the best technical coaches we've ever had through the type of programs. And he and I have talked about kids that we laugh about that no one would ever know. They never won a league championship. They never won a dual league, but they gained and growth. It was so amazing. They're walking the door, they barely run a straight line. By the time they're senior, they're pretty quick. They can jump. They're pretty strong. They can do these things. They can score some points. They're meaningful members of the team. That's those victories. I mean, I'm not taking away from it. Ray Powers is the greatest athlete I've ever coached. It probably will always be. She was a great athlete when it happened.
Yeah.
I just hope it did pull her back from getting to where she should have had. But there's those other kids that when they walk in, they're not great athletes.
Yeah.
And then they have them become good athletes. And that means a lot. So those are the kind of moments I think at the college level, I don't know how can you experience it? Because you're recruiting people, they already come in, they know the sport, or already really well developed. I have to say anything.
Yeah, no, it's different.
It's a different part of the development.
Right. And I'm sure that, you took room to help some of these kids who were, they weren't great athletes and get them to a certain point. That helps not only on the track, during track, but in school and all the other, personal experiences as well. So that's great.
I'm always shocked at banquet when they get up in their seniors. Like you remember them like tripping over their feet in 8th grade, 9th grade, and then they're well spoken, and so it's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they've gone on how much offense that they've gained over the years here.
And now you must have been some folks that have come back, that have gone on to college and done well, and they've come back and have they helped out at all, or talk at all with the kids or any of that?
Well, we have a lot of alum that are actually working the building. So, as you mentioned before, it's one of the kind of great things. So, Michaela Pucci, who's coaching volleyball, she also coaches track. We both coached her. I just could probably start to forget now, but I remember a couple of days, 6 or 7 teachers in the building who they're on the team while I was coaching. Some of them I directly coached. And then having those people be part. Brian Prescott, who's our boys head coach, as I was playing, our great jumps coach, he was on the team in 2008. So, she looks up and there's Martha Thompson, who's still coaching, and she's been coaching for 30 years. She was his coach, right? And so he told me, hey, that was my coach, Those are the connections, I think. So regardless of how well, because you didn't go on to do great, collegiate career, but you had a really good high school career. I think that in some ways that's more meaningful for kids. They're like, oh, you were me 15 years ago, they're like, yeah, that they see themselves. I was out into the kids, like for those being involved, I think it's very, very meaningful. And they having them in class and hearing about it. And even having like teachers like not violence, son went to Marcus this week. It's a very having those connections, I think, is important to the kids. Yeah. But we have had some athletes done really well and come back and connected with the kids too. But I think it's more where the kids get back and taught. You know, they're here every day and they get to see them.
Yeah. Same question, Margie, on the volleyball side. Clearly, you've had a lot of very good volleyball players.
Yeah.
And you mentioned one was coaching.
Well, three. Yeah.
That's where you.
The coaching staff down here is pretty much all past members of the program.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he said it correctly, because I think that it's more the ones that are here in the building and come back. I will have every year at tryouts. It's usually before most of the kids are going off to college, so the Reedy grads will spend in from tryouts with me at least the first day, if not first and second. And a lot of times it's just good to see them and it's social. But as soon as they remember what it was like. As soon as you have to start picking numbers and actually working, they're helping out. So I think that it's nice for the younger players to see there also. On to Matthews.
Yeah, and somewhere with us, being a spring sport, usually, once the colleges are dismissed, in May there, a lot of guys will come back. The guys that are currently still playing, come back and help out at practice, kind of pull kids to the side. And then just this past year, I know I was talking about them before, but with Lynn, I actually was the head coach of our U13 team, which he did in some job of, and so it's cool to see, haven't been here as many years, but now that it's, just starting to get some alums that are back around there.
And you coach,
yeah, and Jordan Carroll did a while ago. But yeah, it's a big, as soon as they get out of school, like guys that are, coming back, I always want to, hey, can I come down to practice, chat with the guys? And that's pretty cool experience.
Just to hop back on your comment about, Bill Fried and coaching and talent stuff. To me, that's very meaningful. My dad was a football coach when I was 6, 7 years old. I can remember being a war boy and doing all that and looking up to all those, these kids that are, they're 10 years older than you at the time. So these guys are gods, right? So that hearing that even today is still, to me, that's great.
My kids lived that.
Yeah.
My kids would come to practices when they were little and be the honorary mascots.
And then see, geez,
yeah.
So I think a couple of things you mentioned, mentioning the end of the season, he's coming back because you said, oh, do people come back? That's actually very beautiful, but they're still involved. They come back. Have an impact because it's funny because when Kate Powers came back last year, she's going to be like an assistant coach. We got Corey Jecht and everything, so she could come and help out. I think partly because she wanted to train also, but it doesn't hurt that she's so. Kids would look at her like she was a god, like, and you realize some of the kids hadn't been in school. The older kids, it was just enough one of the teammates, not just, but it's nice over there. But the younger kids, they've read about it in the paper and they think so. I said to her a couple of times, you just hook them up a little bit, give them, and the kids, beaming, walking away because this person that had reached out to them. And I think those are powerful opportunities that, the hard thing is you got to get a court check. You got to get clearance from the tower before you do it. It's safety, makes sense. But I do think, 10 to 15 years ago, it would just kind of send me down to check with anything. But nowadays, but I do think that's really a point thing. And that shows that the kids who have graduated, they still care about the program. They're still connected to it, right? They want to still, dip their toes in a little bit of hot thing, which is a nice thing to have. It's a special place. They get other places like this.
Big games, we often see alum in the stands. Yes, really meaningful. I'm sure he did it.
It's cool.
See some old timers up there.
You're in the old time gear.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten rid of over 20 years.
Get rid of it. Yeah. Don't worry. I was telling Steve, I was just like, wear a shirt to wear. I said, I could wear my old football shirt,
So funny.
But, well, that's great. Appreciate everybody's your time. in the discussions, and just look forward to seeing how this all comes up. But thanks again for your time.
Thank you.